Hello and welcome to the Insightful Podcast. Today I'm so excited to talk with Kaitlyn Urquiza, a rising meetings and events professional and one of my former students from UCF Rosen College of Hospitality Management. Kaitlyn has quickly made an impact at the Franchise Brokers Association, where she planned her first annual convention and also contributes to marketing, video production, and on-camera content. She brings a rare blend of creativity, poise, and operational strength. And today we're so excited to be exploring her transition from student to professional and the lessons she's had along the way. So excited to talk to you, Kaitlyn. Hello and welcome to the Insightful Podcast, where we bring you thoughtful conversations with leaders shaping the future of tourism, hospitality, and destination marketing. I'm your host, Dr. Jeremy Fairley, and I'm so excited to have our guest, Kaitlyn Urquiza, on the podcast today. Kaitlyn is an emerging meetings and events professional and a proud graduate of UCF Rosen College of Hospitality Management. Kaitlyn now works with the Franchise Brokers Association, where she recently planned her first annual convention and contributes to the organization's marketing, video production, and on-camera talent, in addition to helping to plan meetings. She brings a rare mix of logistics, creativity, and on-screen presence. And today, we're so excited to be talking to her about her transition from student to professional and what she's learned planning her first major event. So, Kaitlyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, technical difficulties are past us. Live video production, you can never know what's going to go wrong, but so excited to have you here. And again, thank you so much, because I know this is late in the evening for you and you are working all day, solving the world's problems, planning all kinds of great meetings and stuff for what you guys have coming up in the next year. So I'm just going to dive right into it. Wanted to just talk really quickly about just some of your, background. We got to give the little Rosen Hospitality plug in for those of you who are unaware. Kaitlyn is a former student. It was the international events course that you took, right? I believe.
Yes,
Seems like so long ago. It was a year ago, because you graduated in the spring, right?
I did. Yeah. Just this
Yeah,
past.
that
Mhm.
gosh, that flew by so quickly.
I
But
know.
yeah, like just when you were at Rosen and taking all these, all the coursework and everything, like was there a moment where you realized, that this is what you wanted to do for a career, kind of being, kind of being in the hospitality and event space? So I think you told me in the past that you had another major, or you came to UCF thinking about, another major. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. I actually, when I first started at UCF, I did start off as a biology major. I kind of had the idea of wanting to be a physician's assistant or possibly do something with dermatology. I didn't really know. I just knew it was good money, and I felt like I was a pretty good student, in high school and stuff. So I thought that that was something that I could see myself doing. But as time went on, I realized math and science weren't my forte. So I switched to something more creative. I started planning a lot of trips with my friends once I moved up here to Orlando, now that I was on my own. Without my family, we wanted to start traveling and stuff. And obviously, like, that was always on me if I wanted to do a trip. So I was always the one planning stuff for my friends. And I found out that Rosen had a event management program, and I thought that that was perfect for me. And as I started doing the classes and started doing all of the projects and stuff, I just loved how creative I could be, coming up with something from nothing, creating a large scale event, putting all of my ideas into it. And it was just something that I actually enjoyed. The other jobs that I've worked, I never really felt any joy or any happiness. It was just kind of working. So this was something that I was actually like, okay, this makes me happy. I can see myself doing this long time. So yeah, it's led me to where I am now.
I feel the need to ask this because I went to college with a bunch of people who majored in biology or chemistry or something like that. What was that first class or biology class that you were just like, oh, hell no, like this is not like what I want to do?
For me, it was taking anatomy. I I just barely passed the class. I think I ended up passing with a C, which for me is not passing, but the studying just it was a lot for me, just memorizing everything. And ultimately I knew that it wasn't really something I enjoyed. I was just doing it again because
Yeah.
everyone, talks about being a doctor. They make good money, so but it, it's
Yeah,
a
it's
lot.
funny. And it's funny because it was always one or two classes that they said, made them really rethink it. And anatomy and physiology was one of them. and organic chemistry was the other one.
I didn't want to have to go to organic chemistry. I didn't want to get to that point. So I knew
Uh,
to step
I should
out.
do a, there should be a study of like students who started out as like med school or whatever or majors and what class made them drop. And I feel like overwhelmingly it would be anatomy and physiology and organic chemistry. So yes, that dovetails nicely with my experience and just watching friends go through that, and just some didn't make it at all, some took it two, three, at least twice. So yeah, that sounds familiar, unfortunately. But hey, we got you here in hospitality. I'm so happy that you made that choice. As you did your coursework and we're learning a lot, and you kind of started to transition into the workplace. What surprised you most about that gap between what were you learning in the classroom, and then once you got to the FBA, sort of transitioning now, like what was the biggest gap like between all right, I'm in the classroom and now I'm in this real world execution, like what surprised you the most, or what number of things, if there's more than one?
I think it really is just when you're in the classroom, you're planning for something that's not real. But obviously working at the FBA and planning all of these events, you have to think about everything, and there's never going to be an ideal situation in events. Things come up last minute. And I think that's definitely been like the hardest thing to manage is just those last minute changes. And there's only so much risk management that you can do. They taught us so much of it at Rosen, but
Yeah.
of course, when it comes to real life, things happen last minute and you just got to work through it.
Yeah, I love how you're throwing out terms like risk management. I think that was a chapter in the events industry course. I think which is like a freshman and sophomore course. So whenever I hear risk management, I go back to that chapter because it's probably the most boring chapter. But like you said, once you get into it, it's like, okay, I see where all this makes sense now.
Mhm.
Like the book application, like literally like leaping off of the page, and like now you're there, especially
Mhm.
as you're planning, an event like this. And I actually know a meeting planner who works for the, gosh, it's such a small world, who works for the Risk Management Association. I don't think that's the exact name, but she lives in DC. Her name is Monique, and that's the association she works for. So boring, as I always tell everybody, again, just remember that chapter. But um,
I'd say
we
risk
mentioned,
management definitely wasn't my favorite, but it is the most useful.
yeah, I feel like there's a story there. We'll get to that later on. But yeah, transitioning to and I'm probably going to butcher the acronym because I keep wanting to say FBI. I don't know if you ever do that, but I keep wanting to
Yes,
say,
I do.
yeah, you work for the FBI. But the Franchise Brokers Association. Now, I will admit, because I like to follow as many of my students on LinkedIn just to kind of see what they're up to and to see what jobs they take. And I've never told you this before, but when I saw that you were, because you had posted something about being excited to start working for the Franchise Brokers Association, I was hating a little bit because I was just like, I have no idea, and like my opinion matters. But like, I've never heard of the Franchise Brokers Association. I don't know anything about it. It's not going to be a good place for her. Like dead end. And now I'm like the biggest fan. And it's hard to be a fan of associations because traditionally they're not that fun. But the things that you guys are posting specifically leading up to the annual event and just in general, I look forward to seeing everything that you guys going on. It seems like an amazing place to work, but also to plan meetings for, and kind of the lead up to the actual annual convention. So I'll apologize because I was hating. I did not think that it was going to be like a good place for you. So just talk to me about that process of getting that job, and just kind of going through the motions of getting that job, and yeah, just getting that job. Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, I was on Indeed, I was on LinkedIn, I was looking for jobs for probably like over 6 months. I was already working in the wedding industry, but I wasn't completely in love with it. I felt like I wanted to try the corporate world. I wanted to see how planning meetings versus planning, social events was. And I wanted to see which one I liked more. So I started looking for anything and everything. Because you really can do events anywhere, and that's what I've
Mhm.
come to learn. I didn't know the Franchise Brokers Association existed. I had never heard of them. When I saw them on Indeed, the job description felt like it fit for what I wanted, and I did that first interview. And the one question that they asked me, which really like made me want the job, which is it's a stupid question, but they asked me if I would be okay picking up lunch occasionally, and I was like, "Yes, that's my favorite thing to do. I will do all the personal assistant things. I That's just something I love to do, and I feel like as an event planner, that's not something that people think that you're gonna do, but when you're planning luncheons, you're planning little, like, in-office meetings, that is something that you're gonna have to do. I go to Hobby Lobby all the time to pick up supplies for our centerpieces. I made 5 trips to Hobby Lobby in 1 day because we kept running out of beads for our centerpieces. Just little things like that. I That was what I wanted. I wanted you just step out of the office for a little bit, but I'm still doing my job and it's still helping the event. And I don't know, I just felt like you said, the company really does make it seem fun. I love all of the videos, all of the marketing that they do. It really does like show you who they are and that they care about their members. And yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that I landed here. I honestly never would have thought that I would be working for them, but really happy.
Yeah, and like I don't sound like cliche, but it's almost been like inspirational because again, I had never heard of the Franchise Burger Association, but following them on LinkedIn and seeing the stuff that you were posting, like it actually like intrigued me. It's like, all right, well, what's this? What's this about? So not to spend too much time on this, but I've actually like just started to go down the process of like, all right, what's the process of potentially running a franchise or owning a franchise? And like so far, I'm only like a week into just the general exploration. Like it's been a great help. Like I've been able to speak to a couple of different, one advisor specifically. So congratulations, you and the Franchise Bankers Association have inspired me to sort of look beyond my, like, I don't know if that's your goal in life, but yeah, it's been cool to kind of watch you go down that process, then also to learn more about the association as well. Because typically associations, and hopefully no association people are watching this, they're not that fun. So it's just great to see. And the membership, you can kind of get a sense for the membership that like everybody that's at this convention is, they're very like, together and very close. It's like a close-knit group of people. How many attendees? I meant to ask that
We
this year.
had close to 400.
Okay.
So we actually did have a lot of people there and our membership is a lot larger. We have thousands of brands in our inventory, but obviously, all those brands can't come to the conference. We had about we had 115 booths. So
Oh,
we
wow.
limited as to who can come and things like that. As for brokers, we had I think almost like 100 brokers attend. So it was a good group of people, and yeah, I mean, our membership is amazing. The way and our leadership is amazing. I think it really, comes back to that. The way our CEO, Sabrina, she really cares for our members. She advocates for them a lot, and she really emphasizes us being a family and working as a team, and I
Yeah.
think I think it really shows.
Yeah, that's so important. You don't hear that often about like, workplace being a family. Because I've worked at places like that where it was definitely a family atmosphere, and then I worked at places where it was not that, and there's such a huge difference. So that's always something that I look for in leadership, and that I would recommend anyone watching. Like if you have an opportunity to kind of understand that level, what leadership looks like. It's always great to have that family atmosphere because it's almost like you're not going to work every day. You're going to this place where you know everybody, you enjoy working with the person next to you, and very underrated aspect of kind of understanding looking at a job.
Yeah.
But
My
diving,
oh,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
My first week there really like proved to me that that was where I wanted to be because like you said, working normal jobs don't really have, your management isn't always nice. It doesn't always feel like a family. Sometimes, there's people you don't like, but my first week there, honestly my first day there, they were just so welcoming. Everyone was so friendly and I just knew that this was the place that I needed to be. They care so much about their employees and our benefits and they really try and do their best to give back to us, which is what I love. And again, yeah, you don't see that everywhere.
Yeah, I love that. Shout out to the FBA. I'm sending all my interns from school there, so I'm anointing you as the intern. You're in charge of all the interns that'll be flooding through there, and please put them to work.
Yeah.
Don't let them take away your favorite thing of going to get lunch and doing all that stuff. But give them some fun task. Um, I want to just go ahead and dive right into, the annual meeting. This was your first one for the FBA, for the annual convention. I know it's kind of there's a lot that's going on, as you're planning this, but did you have an idea of maybe what success looked like to you going in terms of like your role and planning it? Talk to me about that a little bit.
I think the biggest thing for me was just overall everyone having a good time because again, it with such a large scale event, I'm not used to managing that many people and managing everyone's schedules and organizing everything. So for me, it was really just about making sure everyone or everything flowed well and everyone was having a good time. And yeah, I mean, really that was my biggest thing. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was enjoying themselves.
Yeah, so you're going for that post survey or high attendee satisfaction.
Yes, we want them
Um,
to come back next year and every year after that.
yep. What was there a moment, and I'm sure there were many, because I remember when I worked for an association, while I wasn't actually planning the events, I was more dealing with a lot of the marketing technology, the app, the website, and just leading up to it, it was insane. I remember being so stressed out. Definitely the week of the event, but like leading up to it. Was there any part of the process that just felt like super intimidating? And how did you navigate that?
I think the most intimidating thing for me personally was being in a room with 400 people and knowing that I'm the face that well, they most of these people I hadn't even met. I had just been communicating through email. So
Mhm.
I'm the person that is their point of contact. I'm the one that these people are supposed to come to anytime they have questions. I'm supposed to know everything about this event because this is my event. And I feel like that was probably the most intimidating part for me, just knowing that it really, not that it all fell on me, but I felt like I always had to be on point throughout the whole event, and I
Mhm.
always had to be on top of everything, and but sometimes people would ask me questions and I didn't know the answer to. So, it really I don't know. It was definitely the scale of it too, also just talking to everyone because that's something that
Yeah.
I am not used to, talking to, of course, all these people are a bit older. They're all professionals, they're CEOs of these companies. So having to figure out how to talk to them and not sound like I'm a just 23-year-old girl. That was definitely intimidating too, but they were all great, and honestly, the conversations flowed really, really well, so that was really good.
And I'm circling back on something you said earlier, and I don't, maybe I glossed over it, but you said my event. Was this like yours? Like you were, I guess, in many ways, like the lead planner on it, like your event in that sense, or
We do have a lead planner, but
okay,
I'm just the junior, but I guess I would say our event.
okay. No, it's okay. Take ownership of it. But I heard that and I was like, man, like, gee, like, was this hers? Hers?
No, I cannot do it by myself.
One day soon, you'll be planning larger scale. Hopefully, it grows and gets bigger than this. Like, I mean, that's always the aim and the goal of it. But
Bro,
I
we
have
actually
one.
grow 20% every year, so
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I'm just going to consider it's your event. This is
Mhm.
Kaitlyn's event. Hopefully, no one from FBA is watching. Actually, that's a joke. Hopefully, they are watching showcase. But yes, this is Kaitlyn's event. As far as this event goes, and you kind of maybe started to segue into this. What's the biggest takeaway from this experience, and not just the actual event, but like if there's a big takeaway from this planning cycle that includes the event, from like the moment you start planning and working on it to maybe today when you're thinking about posts, like what's your biggest takeaway and how are you going to apply that to the next, either the next event or the next annual convention, either one.
I think my biggest takeaway would probably be hmm, I have to think about that one. So I have a
We can
lot
come
of
back to it.
like I have a lot of personal takeaways from the event, but as far as applying to next year's event, I really think it's just about organization and I think we did a really good job with the production schedule this year and the flow of things and making sure everyone was prepared beforehand. Because even though it's the event planners doing this, there's so many other people on our team that need to be aligned on the
Yeah.
vision and what's going on with the event. So I think my biggest takeaway would probably have to be maybe getting people aligned earlier. We try our best to give everyone the information that they need to make sure everything runs smoothly. But again, things always happen last minute. So
Oh yeah.
just just making sure everyone is always aligned at all times.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when we were planning that event, it was always like, what's that backup plan? Because you know that there's always something that's gonna fail or go wrong or be off schedule. I remember I was working on an event one time and the opening session uh went over. So as you can imagine, that kind of threw off the event for the rest of the entire day. And it was just, it was kind of scramble mode. But yeah, trying to think through all the scenarios or all the bad things that happen and just have a backup plan. That's probably the one uh thing that I took from it. So as far as kind of going down the same path and talking about the convention, how do you design an event that feels, because you obviously want it to be, fun and inspiring, but keeping it professional? Like, is there a balance there, or are they kind of all in one?
I think for this year's event, I think our theme really helped us make the event feel both professional and fun. Our theme was legacy, so it was all about our members, about them leaving a legacy, how their franchising journey has been, and we really tried to capture that in all of our decor elements and make it fun with the design, but also, have it tell a story. And I really think theming plays a big role into that.
Yeah. Yeah, that branding part and the theming is so important because it's not just about like the design and the look and feel, but it affects your content. It affects your speakers because you can't have like just 10 different things going on at once. And I've been a part of conferences that felt like that, where there was 10 different things going on. It didn't really seem to go with the theme. So the thematic part of that, I can definitely see how that's huge. I love that theme, legacy. Um, Actually, talk more about that. Like
They
that sounds
really
really
loved
cool.
it this year. Everyone loved the theme. So we're kind of gonna use our same branding for this year's conference. And we're gonna kind of like take it into next year because everyone loved it so much.
Very nice. Jumping tactics, because this is, or jumping topics, so this is something that, again, following you guys on LinkedIn and seeing all this, I love your video production and just some of the things that you guys were doing content wise. I want to meet your videographer. Like, I really love the work and just the shots, because I've got a very small period of my life where I worked at the agency and got really into video production. So I really had an appreciation for just how creative and thoughtful it was, because I've been in the industry for a while and it's crazy as it sounds. I've never thought about doing those amazing little intro videos where you guys are walking through the space and trying to give the attendees a feel for the event before they got there, kind of like, the pre-planning part of that. First question about that is, because unless you worked in video production, and I'm sure you will realize this, or maybe you just nailed it on the first take, but like, how difficult is it to produce good video content, from a timing perspective? Because most people only see the output and it's a 15-second spot, but you may have been there for 3 hours trying to do that. Especially for you, you had a lot of long walks,
Mhm.
facing the camera, walking up, and I would just be afraid to trip and fall. Was there a trip and fall story? Be honest. Did you trip and fall?
No, there
All
was
right,
there was not.
you're a pro. Yeah, talk to me about that part, just the content, the video production, and just kind of what it takes, the planning process. Because I know is that all coming from you as a group collaboratively, or is it all coming from a videographer, or who's involved
So
in that?
have our marketing team is really heavily invested into this. So our videographer and then our social media manager, she is the one that puts together all of our scripts. So all those
Oh,
videos that we film are all we always make scripts beforehand and we'll have it printed out. And it was cool because sometimes we'll have a little projector so we can
mhm.
see what we're reading right in front of the camera. It feels very professional. But yeah, our social media manager, she puts together all the scripts and then Before that, our videographer will put together a storyboard. So she kind of has an idea of the vibe that we're going for, and then she'll put together that script. We get it sent to us and just read it over a little bit. And yeah, I mean, the production. So for those videos of us in the hotel, we were there, yeah, probably for about 4 hours,
Yeah.
filming back and forth, just, walking all across the hotel. But yeah, I mean, our videographer is amazing. They and our marketing team, I mean, they're the ones coming up with all of these ideas. We did the intro to the hotel, giving that tour. They did that last year and our members loved it because again, no one really does that. You come to a
Yeah.
conference, you don't know where is registration, where is everything. So it was definitely a nice touch and we're definitely going to keep doing it because everyone loved it. And then you're not confused when you get there.
Yeah, and that's what, when I was thinking as I was watching, it was like, these are really great because, and again, to kind of echo your point, it's just giving people, I think a lot of people don't realize how important it is to have someone understand the space going into it and knowing where to go and not being lost. I can't remember where I was recently, but needed to be somewhere and was at the place and was like, I have no idea where I am. So either the signage was really poor or there's just no, way for me to know. So I really love that. And like you said, it may be being done somewhere else, but I've never seen that. And I was super impressed with that. And again, I know how difficult it is to be there for 4 hours. And I remember we used to do, 12-hour day shoots for a 30-second spot or a 15-second spot on social media. So like production work is difficult, but I love the way it came across. It's very inviting. That was the word that I was kind of looking, very inviting, the kind of the way you guys did it. So I'm always just kind of, whenever you guys are posting video, like I geek out a little bit. Like, oh, what are they doing now? So congrats on just being like forward thinking in that space because that's not something you see a lot of, especially not in the association space. Maybe more corporate meetings you see creativity like that, but like in the association spot, I was really impressed with that. So shout out to your videographer, for just being creative like that. Random question here, like before you get on camera, are there any like, pre-camera rituals? Do you like have to hype yourself up or like slap yourself in the face or something like that? And you're just like, all right, let's do this. Like, tell me how professional you are. Like, give me a glimpse into how you're going to turn this into a Hollywood acting career, Kaitlyn. No pressure at all.
I actually don't. I don't know why. It is something that comes so naturally to me. I mean, I pretty sure I mentioned this to you, but I used to film YouTube videos.
Mm,
When I was in middle school and elementary school, I loved watching YouTube, and that was all I wanted to do. I just feel so comfortable talking to a camera. I've always been so used to talking to a camera in my room by myself. So them asking me to do it, it comes naturally. And if I have a script, if I know what I'm talking about, it's easy to just go and just let it flow.
nice. Well, if anyone from FBA is watching, I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, Kaitlyn needs a raise, for doing that and being also on camera. So just throwing that out there. 20% sounds nice, but I'll let you guys sort that out.
Let's see.
Um, yeah, not a paid endorsement at all. That was just me just throwing that out there. All right, our favorite time and a new segment here on the Insightful Podcast, Rapid Fire. All right, we're going to try to stump Kaitlyn with a couple of questions here, all related to meetings, and we'll try to do these answers, and not necessarily quick. Give as much detail as you like. Favorite part of planning a meeting?
Definitely the reveal. Seeing everything come together at the end is my favorite part.
The reveal. Talk to
Yes.
me more about that. Like you said, coming together at the end, or
I guess I would say for this one, our decor, seeing the decor come to life,
okay.
all the centerpieces, just all of our visions, just seeing it in real life.
I've never thought about that before, but again, I'm not like a planner, but I can see how that can be like super fulfilling just to kind of see it all come together like right there in that moment. Cool. You may have answered this, but I'm gonna throw it out there again. Most stressful part.
Definitely the timelines and production schedule. That is always very stressful part.
Hmm. Elaborate. Sorry, I want to know more about that.
Well, personally, this is one task that I do not do, and our lead planner, Bree, takes on the task of managing production schedules. I'm definitely the more creative person. She manages our logistics because
When you say
having
production, you don't mean video production. You're talking about production in general for the
yes.
event. Okay,
So
gotcha.
8 o'clock we're doing this. 8:05 we're doing this.
Okay,
8:10 we're
got it.
doing this. For me, that is too much. And getting into those small details, having to assign all the staff members, not my favorite part.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking you mentioned video production, but yes, that whole process, that's something that I would actually enjoy because I like for people to be like, hey, you need to be in this space at 7:59. I need to know where you are, like timelines and kind of pushing people. So I would enjoy that part. Is there a trend, and this might be a difficult question, but like an overrated trend, like maybe something that you saw being done in meetings that's just kind of, overdone or like I would never do that um type of thing?
Um, I think it's hard for me to say for meetings
Yeah.
because I just got into this corporate space, but I guess for events in general, I personally think something very overrated is props on the dance
Mm.
floor. I I think they can be done without.
I usually just gloss past those because I don't like to do, especially those, like photo booth with the costumes and all that stuff. Like I see that. Yeah, I see that
But
at just about
it's
every event that I go
minimal.
to now.
A regular photo booth is good.
Gotcha. This is one that I did not plan to ask, but I'm reading it again. And I think it'll be a fun question. So let's just say science, technology advances. Someone other than you excelled in anatomy and physiology in science, and they could clone you. So if you got two versions of yourself, what is one doing? Like if you could split yourself into like, let's just say the week of like, what's one person doing and focusing on, what's the other person focusing on? If you got a twin named Maitland Urquiza, what is Maitland doing?
She would definitely be handling all the logistics and all those production schedules, and I would be doing decor and responding to vendors. 'Cause that's my favorite part. Is definitely the design aspect of things. Like I said, I'm more creative. Logistics is not my favorite thing, so I would push that to them.
Nice. Have you, and this is just a random question, have you thought about going back and doing the CMP, the certified meeting planner designation? I recommend it to all like meetings professionals because for one, just the wealth of knowledge that you pick up, having that designation is always great to have those letters behind your name. And then most places at some point, like they're requiring that, like for meeting planning jobs, like it's a requirement. Well, is that something that is on your radar? Maybe not now, but in the future, just to go further with your education on the subject?
Honestly, it never really was something that was on my radar until I started working this job,
Mhm.
and they told me that they really do care about your professional growth, and that's something that they fund, and they've done it for multiple employees. And our lead planner, Bree, she got her project management certification, and I think that's
Okay.
something I'm leaning towards. CMP was not something that originally thought of, again, because since I started in the wedding industry, I did look into becoming a certified wedding planner. But now that I've been working in this space a little, I think definitely down the line, that's something that I could see myself doing.
Yeah, there's especially here in Central Florida, a number of great resources. A lady that I've known for a number of years, her name's Adrian Sitz. She's actually the director of sales at Top Golf. And she leads us I don't want to call it a support group, but a discussion group, essentially on CMP. And I know a lot of people that she's helped get that designation. Shout out to Adrian. If you're watching, I'll tag her in the post, just to embarrass her a little bit. But yeah, I would love to see you do that and just kind of grow from this, especially if FBA is going to support you in that endeavor. And it's great to see. I always know the mark of a good company if they are supporting your professional development, like thinking about, you while you're here, but like, if you leave in your future path, that's always the mark of a good organization. So, couple of more questions here. Legacy and forward vision. I'm only going to ask two of these because we're getting close to time. I feel like I've asked this question, but maybe just for clarification's sake. What are you most proud of from planning your first convention? Like, what's the biggest deliverable? I know maybe just the overall satisfaction of the attendees, that might be one, but is there something else, or what are you most proud of about this, about your event, about Kaitlyn's event? We're not even going to call it annual convention anymore. We're going to call it Kaitlyn's event.
I think what I'm most proud of is that we were able to give all of our members that time to have those, individual conversations, those one-on-one conversations with just one franchisor and a broker. We gave them multiple opportunities to network. We had an offsite event, we went to Howl at the Moon. I'm not sure if you are familiar with that place.
Yeah,
It's,
that's at the that little thing. Forgot what it's
yeah,
called. On my
it's a
drive.
piano bar, which
Yeah.
I honestly had never heard of, but that
Oh wow.
everyone loved it. It was honestly like the best part of the conference, because we allowed them to, have a little bit more fun and, network not in a more professional space. They had some food, there was some drinks, so it was just a good time. And I think that's really where those good conversations are had, and that's where those deals are made, when you're just talking and networking and not feeling like you're so like it has to be so business like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel old because How the Moon's been around for a while. So the fact that you're first time here for it, I feel like I'm 100 years old because I used to live in Tampa. There used to be one of those at Channel Side, and everybody would always talk about how much of a great time it was. So definitely feeling old here, but yeah, that's cool. And I hate to say it, but you're starting to sound like a membership association person because like that's your primary goal is to serve your members. Having worked at an association, kind of that's what we were there and that's what we live for. And similar to you, I always got a high when I felt like when I realized that something that I was doing helped someone be better in their job, whether that was from an education perspective or something that they learned at our conference or a connection that they made.
Mhm.
What I enjoyed most about going to conferences and hosting that one was the people that I got to meet, and how we could bounce ideas off of each other and kind of grow personally and professionally. So congratulations, you're officially an association person because that's where your head should be. So I've run out of questions. But I just want to thank you for taking the time out. And I don't want this to sound like condescending or weird, but I'm really proud of you. I think I posted this on LinkedIn. Like I love seeing students, even though like you guys probably spent like 5 minutes of your life with me in the classroom. I really love it when I see them find jobs, and then just kill it, and go out there and kill it and do great things. And I can see you being, lead planner on this. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out CEO.
Mm.
You're gonna be the CEO and executive director. I'll give you 8 years. Let's just do 8 years. By then you'll be running the spot. But thank you so much for taking the time out. Really proud of you and the work that you've done. And like I said earlier, it's kind of inspired me to learn more about the Franchise Brokers Association. I know that was tops on your list, making sure that I was inspired by all this. Yeah, just lie. Just lie.
That's
There you go. Keep doing
that's
what you're
that's
doing.
what we're here for.
Yeah, that's what you're here for. But thank you so much for taking the time. Apologies for the technical difficulties. That never happens. But again, thank you again for taking the time out, and we will be in touch. I will be continuing to watch what you do on franchise brokers and kind of wherever your path goes. So thank you so much, Kaitlyn.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Insightful Podcast and our insightful conversation with Kaitlyn, whose path from Rosen College to planning major meetings at the Franchise Brokers Association really does highlight what's possible early in a career when preparation meets opportunity. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow the Insightful Podcast wherever you listen. We'll bring you fresh perspectives from professionals across events, hospitality, leadership, and beyond, each offering practical wisdom that you can apply in your own work. We'll be back soon with another episode designed to help you think differently, lead boldly, and stay ahead of what's next.